wouldn't they not? Why wouldn't they just,
Why wouldn't they not?
Oh, and we're live.
Mr. Double Negatives over here.
Why wouldn't they not?
Why wouldn't they not? Why would they not be? Why
Hey
would
guys,
they not be
how many? I want to see how many people are. There's 9 people in here. Holy crap!
And I'm not one of them.
Wow.
It's about to be 10.
I don't think we've ever had
Like
9
this many
people
just
waiting.
kicking off. Yeah.
Yeah. How's everyone? Well, I did name it something that might be a little clickbaity.
Oh, you fucker.
Universal Audio SD-1 looks familiar. How's it going, everyone?
SM7.
Midnight Wolf, Dan's here, Ken's here. How's y'all doing? Oh, Gear Junkie 35. Sup, buddy? Yeah. It's been an interesting week. Did you see the SD-1?
No.
Okay,
No, I don't.
okay. So you got to tell me if this microphone looks familiar, okay?
I mean, I know it's going to because we literally talked about it. Like
Oh,
2
did we
days
talk
ago.
about it? Oh, okay. So I forgot that we talked about it.
It's all good. I have that. I have the same problem where like I have so many I have the same conversation with so many people. I forget who I've had the conversations with sometimes.
Fair. Yeah, I'm in that boat
Yeah.
usually. Bangs, I'm a figment of your imagination. You need to do better. Jeez, Bangs.
just coming at it right. Just shade right out of the gate.
How you doing too, Bangs?
It's got
Lovely
some
to
gate
see
shade.
you.
Lovely, pleasant to have you here, good sir and or madam.
AK Tom Conway, lies fake charlatan.
Universal Audio SD-1.
Yeah, it looks mildly
It
like
looks like a white SM7, basically.
So, let's just dig right in. We got a bunch of people here already. We're 9 concurrent viewers. Cool, lovely to have.
I have
here.
to say, I just as a quickly before we get into it,
All right.
I wanna compliment those here. Some people are here that weren't there last week, but last week was a very productive and engaging conversation with a lot of people with contrasting views. There were no fights, there was no drama, there's no ad hominem. It was great.
Well, I did get yelled at quite a bit on the video that I put out. I'm just a little loud here. A couple people took offense to the fact that I said that you don't benefit by getting a free video out of having a mic lent to you.
Oh right,
Yeah. And I tried not to engage too much because I like it's not about. I mean, me clicking that little box is my choice, and it's a legal necessity if I receive something free, and that's the extent of it. It's nobody's decision but my own. So, and I think that's why I kind of stepped away, and I didn't want to engage too much with it. So, yeah, Bangs, you weren't here, buddy. Pity too. By the way, anyone that's watching the live stream or is planning on watching the live stream later, apparently the live chat takes 24 hours to show up again. So
it's kind of dumb, but
yeah.
whatever.
Well, I guess they have to process everything, make sure nobody's saying stuff they're not supposed to say, or whatever YouTube has to do.
So somebody should write a comment that's just penis, and
Please
we'll see
don't.
if it takes longer.
Has
So
it
right out of the
stricken out.
gate, one thing I like about the SD-1 instead of the SM7, again, I'm just going by what it looks like, is the XLR port is in a more appropriate fucking location.
So before we get into
like,
the logistics
like
of
this
this,
garbage, I
Yeah.
fucking hate this.
So before we get into this crap and talk about the actual body and some of the things we dislike, is it weird to prejudge it based on the fact that it's a complete rip-off design?
Oh, 100%. 100% it's fair. Absolutely.
Like I know I'm gonna like the microphone. I've already seen some stuff. Sweetwater put out a video, which, by the way, the dude that does the Sweetwater videos needs to put. I can't remember his name, but he needs to do the mouth declick.
Mitch
Oh my
Gallagher
God.
Is he a sort of a larger dude?
Yeah,
white hair,
older
and
fella.
and a bit of a beard.
His mouth clicks. I've never been triggered by anyone's mouth just from talking as much as I am
Other
from
than your
his.
own, probably.
No, you know what? With my own, I've almost gotten used to it. But
Oh, that's not good.
Big Tasty Ben, how's it going, brother?
Love that name. I recognize the name, so I think Big Tasty Ben's been here before.
Tasty.
But
Big
that's gotta
Tasty's
be-
been here.
That's like right up there with Bang's Naughty Bits. That's just stellar. Love
Bangs
this.
Naughty Bits and Big Tasty Ben side by side. Yeah, when you hear him
Never
talk,
ever say that again.
I had my headphones on, and I was listening to him. I'd actually take my headphones off and go through my monitors
You're
just
gonna
because of
clean
that.
out your ears after you're like, I feel like someone was slobbering inside my head.
Yeah, like he's licking his lips right beside my ears. Banjo, it's Mitch Gallagher, the man, the myth, the legend. Please don't.
Yeah, I was gonna say Mitch. I think does all their videos. I like him. I've never noticed his mouth clicks before, but I don't watch a ton of Sweetwater's content, so I'm gonna have to go now because I'm so. Curious.
He's got one of the best deliveries. I idolize the delivery.
That guy should do like a podcast. Like he's got like a great
I'm
voice.
Sure, he's got voiceover.
He must.
But just outside of his tone, the tone of his voice or anything like that, his delivery is probably one of the best that I've seen on tech YouTube or tech in general.
Oh yeah, no, Sweetwater's format for their videos is very good.
Yeah. It's very salesy though, which I don't like.
It is, and we talked about this last week, obviously. But I think Sweetwater's not going to tell you what is going to not work about a thing. I'm confident that Sweetwater is honest about the things that a tool is good for. Yes. But if I want to know what's bad about a product, I'm not going to ask Sweetwater.
What pisses me off, so let's get into this before we get into the minor gripes. So the SD-1 looks exactly like the SM7B.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I prejudge it based on the fact that it's just a complete ripoff. Why not curve a couple edges? Like outside of the XLR port.
I love how even the yoke looks almost identical.
Almost identical. And I know I'm gonna like it. Where I know that it's got some positive signs of life. I can't say that I'm gonna like it. I haven't had it in my hands yet. But there is one big thing that irks me about this is in order to unlock a lot of the features with this microphone, you have to have a UA interface.
I love it.
So it'll just be a regular XLR mic, but they've got some specific plugins for it. That obviously UA is known for their plugins that only work with UA devices. I mean, that's fine.
To be honest, they're not the first into that game. I mean, Slate Digital has been doing that for years. Like you can get the Slate mics and they work great as like regular mics, but obviously if you have the Slate software you can customize it.
They're pointing this right at the mouths of podcasters. Okay.
Oh yeah, well, because they know these days that's where the money is.
Okay, so you're pointing this at broke ass podcasters who don't have a ton of money to drop on stuff. The microphone, if it does what they say it will do, is right it's a perfect price point. It's less than the SM7.
It's cheaper than the SM7.
Yep.
It's almost cheaper than the MV7.
Yep, it's wonderfully priced. But then they attach something like that for the plugins or the things that the podcasters are going to want to make them sound all big and bushy and burly and nice and compressed and all that. Yeah, you've got to get the $1,000 interface, by the way. Sorry.
So it makes me a little bit nervous, and I'll tell you why. UA, Universal Audio, like one of the oldest companies in the professional audio space, flat out. This is not their segment.
Well, no, but they've bought a microphone company.
Obviously.
They've bought a microphone company.
But still, their specialty has never been, like their company has revolved around professional. Like they're selling $8,000 compressors, not $300 microphones. So I'm going to be interested to see once all the YouTubers start digging their knife and fork into this thing, where the skeletons are buried, because for $300 for that, there have to be some skeletons.
Well, you got to remember, there's a bunch of other microphones being released at the same time. This is the one that's getting the spotlight. This is the one that's getting the love. And
of course, because it's UA. Anything UA is like automatic gold, like as soon as it gets released, pretty much.
And they're not under the same umbrella. So some of them are. My mind's going numb with trying to remember the name of the company they bought. They bought a couple microphone companies, if I recall. Townsend Labs, as well as Bach. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate that. Big Tasty, the best Sweetwater videos are their 2012 Fender videos. The sales rep looked like he's either hates his life or he's about to fall asleep. Oh, that's awesome. If you don't have a UA, this mic probably won't make sense from Banjo. And that's the thing. I bought the microphone, so I did the pre-order because I want to have it day one. I don't have any contacts with UA. Mm-hmm. However, I do have a lending agreement with Long and McQuaid, so I'm going to borrow. Why'd you freeze?
Did you get out of the window again or something?
No, I didn't.
I love how it even has the presence boost And
Yeah.
it has the same switches in the back too.
It
Oh my
does.
god, they've copied
So
everything.
I'm going to borrow a UA interface to review this microphone, and whether or not it makes sense, I don't know if that's a fair assessment, because for somebody like me who can just do everything in post and make it sound all beautiful in post, it's an XLR microphone. Mm-hmm. So I think it should be judged on that alone.
So what I'm going to be interested in are as we've discussed, they've copied the SM7 quite, shamelessly, to be honest. So they've already, I can identify one weakness of the SM7 that they have fixed, which is the port location.
Yeah.
There are other things though about the SM7 that people have hated over the years. For example, is this going to be a hotter mic? Probably.
It does sound like it. Plus, with the additional compression, presence boost on the back, and all that stuff, I have a feeling that will be the selling feature. So it's going to be right out of the box through a UA interface. You got the compression. They probably have an EQ, all that stuff. It's going to sound fantastic. And they've got presets that don't sound half bad. Mm-hmm. So I don't like their podcast preset because it makes you sound like you're muffled, like it's really, really taken in that low end.
It almost sounds like an AM talk show kind of preset.
I don't like that. Bang says, I can't wait until you have to pay a monthly fee to unlock the features of your mic. That's probably, I would say, coming. First company to do that. Who do you think would be the first company to release a microphone that is a monthly fee to unlock the... You probably get the microphone free.
Or very inexpensive. Well, it's like printers, right? I mean, you can get a printer for less than $100. And you pay over hundreds of dollars to get the fucking cartridges.
I could see Shure doing it first.
I don't know if Shure's business ethics, at least at the
that's
moment,
fair.
would allow them to do it. I mean, Shure is a pretty honest company, all things considered. I would be a little bit disappointed and surprised if Shure went that direction. I could see a company like I could see a company like Behringer trying to venture into that.
I was just going to say that.
Behringer's business practices, as we know, are sketchy as fuck.
We crap on them once per video. We need to at least get one of them in. So that's
hold us
the
to that.
part.
Everyone who's here, hold us to that. If we get to a video and we're at like the 50-minute mark and we haven't shat on Behringer, call us out.
Right.
Okay, so the port location, the actual output level of the mic.
Yeah.
Are there any other? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Other things that people don't like.
No, that's pretty much it.
SM7. Some people have complained about the sensitivity of this grill, about how if you accidentally bump it, this gets dented really easily. Although that's not a huge thing.
That's not a complaint. That you have to fix.
I can think of one.
What's that?
For people that want to use this, and this is not so much a podcaster thing, but if people want to use this in the music context, which is used a lot. The annoyance is the yoke is in the way.
Yeah.
You can't get a 180-degree angle, which it looks like just from the size of the yoke on the picture, this is going to have the same problem.
And the worst part about that, between the yoke and the XLR port, if you have the wrong boom arm, you almost can't mount that.
Yeah, this Mika,
so frustrating.
This Mika is barely it's touching. The cable is touching. Yep. So the other thing I could think of is the ease of mounting. So this little spinny ring, even without the XLR port there, this is annoying. Trying to mount the mic attached to the clip to the mic stand is A, dangerous because you're more likely to drop it, and B, it's just a fucking nuisance.
I prefer not spinning my mic. I do. I actually like that little spinner thing. So.
Well, but I'm more talking about obviously with normal mics, for example, RE20, you put the clip on and then you put the mic into the clip. With this, they haven't made that. I mean, you can take these screws off, but it's a pain in the ass. Nobody wants to do that.
Here, let's catch up here.
This cable, this cable means you can't do that unless you want to break the cable.
Yeah.
It looks like there's some things that they've fixed or they've learned from the lessons that Shure hasn't, and then other ones that looks like they just overlooked completely.
All right, there's one I want to get to here. Bang says extension tubes are the SM7B's friend, but they look stupid.
They look dumb.
I just finished a video on the Warm Audio. It's coming up not this Monday, but the Monday after. The Warm Audio boom arm. And they include an extension tube because you can't physically hook up the SM7B on it. So, and it just looks dumb. It's like a 4-inch extension tube. It's dumb.
Are there multiple variants of this mic? Because I notice on the top of it, it says standard and then SD-1. So is there a deluxe version?
That's a good question. Well, SD is standard dynamic. So
But why do they just write the word standard? That seems weird unless there's like it's a tiered microphone somehow.
maybe it is.
Or
Midnight
maybe they're
Wolf.
planning on dropping something at some
I
point.
step in the grocery store and my cell service cuts out. Okay. Banjo, the mic is made in the same factory as the other two SM7B style mics. The mic looks identical, Advanced Audio DM7 and Musicville MV3. Well, and that's the thing, like, why are my dogs going nuts? They're not the first person to rip off a style. Like, and that's the thing. Like, it's hard to complain that Universal Audio is doing this when Behringer would have already done it if they could have.
No, it's just good business. I mean,
Yeah.
ultimately, this is why patents exist. Obviously, there's not much about this that Shure can patent because there's not a ton of things
No.
that's unique about the SM7.
Yeah.
But so I can't fault the company. It's just smart business.
Yeah. Barcode Obscure Mics reviews an SM7B SM7B clone. It has rear switches, but there's connected to nothing, just decoration. I think I saw that video too.
It worries me though because again, this is getting into Behringer territory. Behringer's entire product line
Okay.
are knockoffs.
Continue.
Of other
I've got to
products.
go shut my dogs up.
So I'm hoping this isn't going to become a trend with UA because again, I have a lot of respect for UA. I have some UA products myself, and yeah, I mean this is something that Behringer has done. Behringer takes really high-end companies that make great products, finds a way to make a similar product that has at least the majority of the feature set for like less expensive with cheaper components. So I mean this isn't that much cheaper than an SM7. It's like half the price basically. But yeah, I don't know. I hope this doesn't become a pattern with UA because I've come to expect a lot more from again one of the grandfathering companies of like the music business when it comes to gear. So I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Banjo. Apparently, Mike should have functioning switches. Oh, okay. I'm looking forward to the UA white pencil mics this summer.
I do. I have to say, at first when I saw it, when I saw the SD-1, I wasn't a fan of it white. I'm like, this looks like pimpage. I'm not a huge fan of it. But now I'm like, okay, well, if it takes off, I mean, it's much more distinctive.
Well,
the SM7.
At least
yes.
you can tell between your SM7 and your SD-1, right?
I would hope you would be able to anyway. The big UA diamond kind of gave it away, but
Big tasty. The little spinner thing sounds like my ex. Ooh.
little spinner thing, nice.
Ugh. SP1 for standard pencil too. Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna probably go broke on Universal Audio stuff this year. I should get one of their interfaces just to have it around.
Go full throttle. Get a couple LA2As. Get a couple $5,000 mono compressors.
Delano Mohammed retracted their message. Well,
I didn't do it.
Midnight Wolf, I will echo what I said when I first saw it. The white makes it look cheap, and I would love to hear it before I judge it.
Plus, it's gonna show dust and dirt.
Well,
a lot
it's going to
better,
show
probably.
scratches.
Oh,
How
God,
many
yeah.
people have a microphone like my SM7Bs beat up? They get beat up after a while, and that's okay. But
Yeah, you're moving them around all the time. I mean, this guy's pretty safe. But it still collects dust. I find like once every 6 months I have to take this fucking sock off and wash it. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's full of crap.
the cat hair in this place gets all over.
Yeah, I'm thinking of getting a cat, and if I do, that is going to be a problem. I'm gonna have a no cat in the studio rule.
Yeah.
My guitars are not scratching posts.
Liberty Dude has a good point. It's white. Look how popular the SM7B custom color windscreens are. It's
Oh, God.
true. You know what? I don't mind the concept of that. Like, especially for
Yeah.
people who are on video. I mean,
doesn't.
that's great.
It's one of those things, right? Like if you've got, it's an aesthetic thing. So if you've got a setup that has a lot of white accents, then yeah, it makes sense.
Banjos, get an LA2A, you coward.
You coward.
I'm getting there, okay? I'm getting there. I just bought a $1,000 monitor.
Take out a fucking mortgage. Like to a-
What's your quote on that there, Dylan? How much am I going in the hole if I buy that?
One LA2A,
Yeah.
$5,500
That's not a mortgage.
for one. There was one studio in New York that I was at this one time. Well, a friend of mine was at. He took pictures. They had an entire wall of LA2As, like literally floor to ceiling, and like $100,000 in LA2As easily on both sides. And I'm like,
Yeah.
must be nice.
Yeah, no,
like
they're
an entire band with LA2As on every single mic.
$6,000 Canadian.
Yep.
They're pretty. It looked
Yeah,
nice.
LA2A. I love the LA2A. I think some people say it's overrated. I think the attack and release on it is perfectly set for so many applications. The 1176 is obviously the more popular variant because it's more customizable.
Dan says to get one of the hairless ones. I don't think the LA2As come hairless, unless he means my cat.
I think he's talking about the mic. Yeah.
The mic or the cat? Hairless mic?
Cat. Oh, no, I'm not going to get a hairless cat. It's a rat.
That is scary ass stuff.
Did you just say that scary ass stuff?
Yeah, Delano, the major issue, if it's meant to be on screen, the XLR port and the color does nothing for presentation, but it sounded really well rounded.
It's true.
And you know what?
The XLR is a little gaudy.
No, I mean, it depends on your routing. It depends on a bunch of things. I much prefer coming out the back of the microphone rather than the side like it is now.
But as they say, like the nice thing about this is, and I haven't done it on this one, but like these switches, I could put the security plate on there, and it's just a nice round Shure logo, no big deal. But with this thing, it's got cable coming out the back.
If people are staring at the back of your microphone, you maybe set up your camera a bit better.
Well, but even like if I was using this mic for streaming and I had it off, like that, you can still, you can't because it's cropped. But
Dan says, just get an Apollo X8. Just do it. You know what? I tell you what, if I get enough members by the end of this year, I will. Okay?
I've been actually eyeing, there's a sale, one of the distributors I go for has a sale on an LA610 UA preamp, and I'm really like, it's a nice preamp.
There's a lot of places that I would love to spend my money. I honestly, and this is the crappy part about doing this channel, is I have to upgrade some of the gear for doing the channel, let alone the gear for
actually reviewing and
messing around with audio. And I'm sorry, like an Apollo X8 probably isn't going to be a widely watched review from my channel. So buying it wouldn't have exactly the returns unless I can use it. So
I was going to say, Banjo's just like, I use the LA2 on every single one of my podcasts. I'm like, big high roller over here, and then emulator. Although, to be fair, the emulators, especially the UAD emulator of the LA, obviously, it's the company that made it. They know how to, it sounds great. And again, you're only limited by your processing power. So you can put $20,000 of virtual LA2As on a thing. But
Banjo, I bet 30 years ago they weren't as expensive, even accounting for inflation. No,
100%.
Probably not.
Oh, absolutely. They, like anything else, right? Even Gibsons back in the 50s, Gibsons were not priced the same that they are now. It's a brand.
Big Tasty Ben's got a good question. This may be a stupid question, but I've never seen a tube pencil mic. Do they exist? And how well would they perform if they do?
See, here's the problem. So that's a good question. The problem is pencil mics are supposed to be transparent. That is the whole point of a pencil mic, is to not color. Tubes, by contrast, tubes are added to a signal chain to add color. So considering the whole purpose of a pencil mic is to get as colorless of a sound as possible, it wouldn't really make a ton of sense. I mean, you could do it. There's no reason why you couldn't do it. But I think a good experiment would be to take a pencil mic, plug it into a tube preamp, because in most cases, that's really all a tube mic is. It's a mic. It's a large diaphragm condenser with a built-in tube preamp.
Yeah. Banjo, I use the LA2A on every single one of my podcasts.
Yeah.
It's the only compressor I use for that. That is the most expensive podcast episode, each one.
I know, right?
Most people are like, dude, can I use an SM7B or an SM58 or maybe I guess an XM1800S for my podcast? Banjo's like LA2A, just for my compression. Probably for compression.
A vintage AKG C12.
Yeah.
But so for anyone who's curious, though, if anyone wants to hear what the LA2A sounds like, you can get the Chris Lord Algae emulation of it, the CLA2A. From Waves for relatively inexpensive, and
Banjo
I recommend it because it is a great emulation.
Banjo says emulation not a real thing.
Yeah, yeah. So he's saying that he's using an emulator.
Yeah. Big Tasty Ben, yes, they do make small diaphragm condensers. People seem to love them. I've never used one though. I've never seen them. Dylan, I have a feeling, is looking it up right now. Liberty Dude, the Shure historian explained that the SM7B did sell well enough to keep manufacturing just before they were about to discontinue it. Podcasters started buying it and saved it. I heard the same story that the SM7B, because most people buy one SM7B in their life, right? And there's not like, nobody's like, oh, I should go out and get a fourth SM7B.
Yeah, there's not a ton of shit when it comes
Well,
to.
it's not like a TV set that you upgrade
No.
because there's new features on the new
No,
one.
I mean, unless you fuck it up. And if you own a studio, it's advantageous to have, like, I've been in studios that have, like, 4 of them because you use them simultaneously. Especially on a drum kit, SM7 sound amazing in many applications on a drum kit.
Yeah.
Like, if you could get an SM7 on every top tom, on a top mic of every tom, like, that would be gorgeous. But so I'm trying to think, because pencil mics, so they make it must be a custom tube, because a 12 AT7 or AX7 or AV7 would not fit inside the cavity
the
of a.
heat on it too, considering.
Yeah, well, it'd have to be vented. Most tube mics are vented because it has to be.
Bangs, Dylan should get an Ashera breed. You can take it for walks, and the chicks love it.
I mean,
hairless cat, I
chicks
guess.
love most.
Oh,
people
that's
that
right.
do with animals.
Soyuz does have a tube SDC. Telefunken has a tube SDC too.
Like the people that made the Russian re-entry
no,
capsule.
it's haven't you seen Soyuz mics?
I know.
They're gorgeous microphones.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's a good company.
Dylan, I was going to suggest a tube pre.
Yeah. I have the Vanguard V13, which is probably the only tube mic that I'll ever need. Sorry, Banjo. I know you love the U67. I do as well, but like as far as tube mics go, I don't need them. Like I have tube pre's. I have a whole rack of tube pre's. I don't need a mic that has it built in. In fact, the tubes that come in the pre's, or that I've replaced in the pre's, are probably better than the tubes in most of the mics anyway.
But this is interesting. Midnight Wolf brings this up. Am I the only person that does not want to own an SM7B? Probably. The only reason I own this SM7B is because of this channel. Dylan, when I first started this channel, Dylan was like, "Oh, dude, you should get an SM7B. It sounds really nice on your voice." I was like, "Yeah." I had the NT2A at the time, and that was.
I'm the old vintage hipster. I'm the one that has had an SM7 before they were cool.
I was down between the SM7B and the NT2A for starting voiceover, not starting, but kicking off home voiceover, and I ended up going with the NT2A just because of, at the time, finding quiet preamps on a decent entry-level interface was really hard to do, and I didn't want to be dealing with added noise from pre's because of the SM7B's low need for gain. I don't mind it, but it's not like I don't use it for anything other than this, right? So
it will eventually come down in price because, as Banjo pointed out, the demand for the SM7 is going down because there are more viable alternatives in the market. Now, is it still a symbol of success for a lot of people, just like the U87? Absolutely. So I don't know that that's going to go away anytime soon. No. Eventually, probably. But
well, Bang says condenser for voiceover always. Not always, actually.
Nope. This is my daily driver for voiceover.
Yeah.
I voice national spots with this thing, and it sounds phenomenal. I would never change it out.
There's a ton of people that use RA20s for voiceover.
It depends. It really depends on the voice.
Yeah.
Like I have a fairly bright voice with a lot of presence, so it's kind of nice that the SM7 curtails that a little bit. And when I use my U87 for voiceovers, which I do as well from time to time, I always end up dialing down the high end because it's just it's shrill.
Yeah,
compared to, because I'm so used to the sound of this, so it's like
Yeah. Banjo says the tides are turning. People are doo-dooing all over it. It's interesting to see the shift, just like with the Yeti. I don't know if the SM7B is going to face the same. Well, I think at its price point, I think the jacked up price.
The price point, and I think as we've talked about before on these streams, the SM7 isn't practical. That's the problem. No. It's you need a good expensive rig to drive this thing. It's kind of a pain in the ass, as we pointed out, to put on various mic sort of situations. It's expensive as hell for what it is.
Midnight Wolf, I hated the Yeti from the start. I've considered, because I did that Behringer video of why people hate Behringer, and I did stop buying the Blue Yeti. That was more just why people don't like the Blue Yeti. But I thought about doing a video about why people don't like Blue microphones. And there've been a lot of, but then it's just going to be a rehash of the Behringer video. Basically, there's a lot of the same complaints outside of the ripping off styles. But then I'm like, I love poking the bear and all. I love getting people really riled up and angry because a lot of them subscribe.
Well, I mean, like you're making a brand of saying the things that nobody else has the guts to say, which I think is I mean, we need people like that, right?
Yeah, I get a lot of hate for some of this stuff, but I also find it fun, and I do like poking the bear.
Comes with the territory.
And I try not to get myself riled up doing it.
Speaking of poking the bear, the SM5, the old dead cat. The old dead cat on a stick. Yeah, the SM5 was known for years, mainly in broadcast circles, but it was a great mic. They have not made it for a very long time.
Yeah, Banks says the blue bottle and baby bottle are nice. I've considered getting some of the higher end blues.
I don't know. I bought a baby bottle once, and within a day, it stopped working mysteriously. That company has been tarnished in my brain ever since that. I'm like,
well, they don't answer their phone when you call, right? Like that's part of the problem with blue.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like PreSonus. Like, I really wanted to give that company a shot because I knew tons of people that spoke great things about PreSonus. I bought their studio channel. It was DOA. I'm like, well, this doesn't bode well.
You know what I found?
Quality control.
The only redeeming grace when it comes to PreSonus is the distributors in Canada are amazing. PreSonus themselves couldn't care. They don't answer phone calls from us. They answer phone calls from distributors. Yep. So if you call your distributor, you will find you get more of a chat with somebody. And they're the same people that I work with here for getting product to review. I think it was, when the PreSonus blew up, I called them and they're the ones that got me the new power supply and everything to put in. So PreSonus didn't answer a single one of my phone calls or emails. That's not good.
No, especially when you are basically a media entity for them.
Well,
not smart.
Smart. I was really small when that happened. Like this channel was wildly small, and I didn't even try that.
I always assume my day-to-day approach is that everybody that I cross paths with at some point is going to become a multi-billionaire and end up on TV, and that is a great approach to not treat people like shit.
Yeah.
But obviously, when you run a business, you have to triage to some degree. So I'll give PreSonus kind of a pass.
The Sure Historian said that the SM5B only sold 6,000 over a decade or so.
It was not it was never a consumer or a studio mic. It was broadcast. It was just broadcast.
But it was a ridiculous mic. Like Banjo owns one. Like it's a ridiculous.
Yeah. Dead cat.
Not. Yeah.
Dead cat.
It looks one of the blimp.
It sounds great. The other thing that people talked about was the structural integrity of it. You could have bought an SM7 in the 70s and it still probably works to this day in many cases. But the SM5, they were not quite as robust when they built those. Now, could they have done what they did with the 7 and made some improvements and iterations? Totally, but I think they just decided to sunk all their money into this, which obviously has been one of Shure's main income streams. So, hey, good job.
My wife is texting me random numbers.
Nice.
Kind of curious what that's all about.
Bingo?
No, 49 and 27. Not really sure.
That's not bingo.
Yeah, Blue is owned by Logitech. Is Blue owned by Wow, Logitech bought Blue?
Did not know that.
I've ignored Blue for some time.
That's a weird acquisition for
No,
Logitech.
Corsair is it? Yeah, Corsair owns Elgato and Turtle Beach.
Yeah, but that's Blue is in the low professional audio space, high-end
so is Neat
prosumer.
Mics.
But Elgato is not.
Neat Mics.
Who owns Neat Mics?
Elgato, which is owned by Corsair.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
I mean, but at the same time, Neat Mics.
Well, Neat Mics. They bought Turtle Beach. Turtle Beach owns Neat Mics.
Are you gonna find Neat Mics in a professional studio anytime soon? Probably not.
Yeah.
It's Neat. I think their market segment is definitely some VO guys, but a lot of streamers.
It's carved in stone by now.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking to everyone else. Question regarding ambient rejection. Which one of you has Discord open? I do. Why?
I mean, we both do technically.
Yeah. Why? What's with the audio rejection? We got bleed?
Yeah, we're not running our audio through Discord. Just
all of our audio is going through something else.
Yes. You're so sketchy.
Yeah. Our audio. I'm jealous of all SM5B owners with working microphones. No kidding.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind.
I would love to know where Banjo got his SM5B.
eBay, I'm gonna guess.
Banjo said I don't believe he said where he got it on his video. I would have to go back and watch it again.
That to me, I like unless you're at like a, vintage, like unless you know someone that owns one, eBay's probably the only place.
Banjo Scott planning a video for you, by the way. Oh, okay, that's not me. Logitech owning the Yeti makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
Yes.
I'm surprised. So that kind of surprised me that Logitech hasn't like integrated that. Maybe they've just integrated the tech into some of their stuff.
Logitech owning the Yeti makes sense. But Blue has a lot of non-streaming oriented products that.
Yeah, they've got high-end microphones.
Oh yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Logitech manages a market segment that they have never dabbled in before. But Blue's, if they don't fire everybody, Blue will help them with that.
Bangs is hearing Discord bloops. Assumed it wasn't from the RE20. No, it's coming from me because I have not set up OBS properly to have the income audio not just being anyways. Eventually I'll get it so my system audio isn't coming through Discord. No, wait, you shouldn't be getting my Discord audio.
That's what I'm saysaying. We're not going.
Why is my because my microphone setup is desktop audio. That's why.
That'll do it.
Yeah. So I'm not pulling audio from
your mic directly.
Yeah. No, it's your audio that's coming through desktop audio. My microphone's coming in individually. So I've got to set up. I got to set up clean feed to come through instead of just desktop audio. I got lazy when I was setting up the stream.
Actually, I probably should have muted my Discord mic as well, just because.
Oh, did you not? Oh, okay.
No, well, you did. So in my head, I was like, oh, it's already muted and deafened. Yeah. I assumed you hit both buttons.
Every video Red Cabin makes is worth the view. I bought it on eBay or Reverb. Waited a year or two looking for one. Wow, I can only imagine.
Yeah,
I can imagine the working ones. Well, okay. So here's the thing: if you bought an SM5B outside of a blown capsule, or
which would be relatively rare. I mean, you'd have to really you're miking a jet with that. Like
you have to beat the crap out of it. Fixing an SM5B would be ridiculously simple.
Yeah. Well, fixing any dynamic mic, really, in most cases.
Outside of the capsule.
Even realistically, though, any mic. Other than the weird, like, Austrian audio with Bluetooth and shit. It's a whole other... That makes me nervous. But, like, dynamic mics and the condenser mics don't have a lot going on. You take apart a U87.
I used to say stuff like that. I used to make statements like, oh, it's easy to do. But then I did the video... I
wouldn't say it's easy to do. It's not impossible.
Well, I did the video on the SM58, taking the transformer out of the SM58.
Unpotting that shitty resin crap.
People got mad at me because they're like, well, you're saying this is simple. You're saying this is easy, but it's not easy and people are going to wreck their mics. I'm like...
But, like, here's the thing, though. Like, you and I are DIYer types. Thank you.
But I'm sorry. TechMed. Cheers, brother.
Awesome.
Okay, if a soldering iron isn't an advanced tool, okay, it's a heated tip. That's all a soldering iron is.
It's a hot stick.
It's a hot stick that melts.
Yeah, it is. I'll tell you about my hot stick.
Like, that is not advanced work. Like, just reconnecting two wires between the capsule and the XLR port is not hard.
There is some skillsmanship, that's not a word, but I'm making it a word, to soldering properly. For sure. That is something that you definitely get better. Like, you can't just read an article about soldering and know what you're doing with a soldering.
No, but you can't. It's really hard to screw up something like that. Like, if you're soldering two contact points on a capsule and two contact points on an XLR, outside of, like, I don't know, how could you screw that up unless
I can think of a reason right away. Cold solder joint. So if you have the molten solder, you take the iron away, and if you move either of the solder points and you create a cold solder joint, and your signal gets all fucked up.
Okay, fair, but then
in an electrician context, that doesn't matter because the voltage is enough to push through. But in audio, that can really fuck you up.
Yeah, but then that's how you get better at it. And what I'm saying is, how can you fuck up the mic? You can't hurt the mic soldering unless you unless you
touch the soldering iron to something that you're not supposed to touch it to.
Which on an SM58 must be pretty hard. Anyways,
if you couldn't do it on the wire side, on the capsule side.
Okay, if you've got the soldering iron anywhere near the capsule, you're doing it wrong, man. Yeah. Like, really, really wrong.
Well, not even the capsule, but just on, because you're having to solder the wires on the underside of the cartridge. if the wires are broken. Are we talking about the transformer or just changing wires out in general in the SM58?
Either one, it doesn't really matter. It's
Yeah, because
it's
so
about
if you're unsoldering the wires on the bottom of the cartridge and the head of the mic, there is some risk there again. But anyone who's used a soldering iron for longer than 20 minutes knows you have to have good motor control, reliable motor control. How many times have you burned yourself with a soldering iron by accident?
Maybe twice, 3 times.
Really?
Yeah, I respect heat.
Oh, well, so do I. But like when you're soldering, you're focusing on a lot of things at once. So it's I mean I haven't in a while. It's been many years since the last time I had a little brush up against the wrong part of my hand.
Hey, by the way, we got a porn spam on this stream. Does that mean that we've made it? Does that mean that?
So.
I think we're in the big time now, man.
We're in the clout zone now.
We're in the clout zone. Yep. I love it. Everyone's just talking to themselves, so we can continue. So yeah, I used to make those statements like it's super easy, and I got worried about doing the microphone build that I was going to do, taking apart an SM58, putting it into the body of another microphone. We'll see. We'll see if people complain about that as well. I love DIY stuff.
I'm with Banjo. I get a little bit shaky. Not like, Parkinson's level, but like, not
I'm a little shaky too, but you can also refine that with practice.
Oh, of course. Which most of us have done.
Yeah, and you just keep practicing at it. And I mean, you're not soldering a nuclear weapon. So
I think in most cases, the quality of your tools will be a bigger factor than the skill. Like, I invested in like a $300 iron last year. I love it. It makes life so much easier.
I don't solder enough to actually invest.
There go my dogs. You know how long it took me before I finally was able to pull the trigger? The only reason I pulled the trigger was because the tip in the shitty $20 Weller that I got at Home Depot fucking seized and broke in half. That's the only reason.
Yeah, and I've got one of those. Well, I've got a $40 Weller. So
it was like 25 watt, and then I got one of the big like soldering stations that Weller makes.
I've considered the actual station too. And the older I get, the more I want to tinker with stuff. So what?
Oh, cringe. Oh, Red Cabin. I feel the pain. Oh, man.
Oh.
Yeah.
My hand.
I'm stinging now. It's like, no, that's bad. First time I ever tried a cigarette, I put the burning end in my mouth.
Oh,
true story.
Yeah, wrong way.
True story.
Wrong way. Okay.
Needless to say, I have never smoked ever again.
He's real good with music and stuff, but not very good with the smoking, kids.
Not good at life skills.
Oh, that's just. And you know what? It reminds me of the meme. You ever see that soldering meme where the girl's like soldering something, but she's holding the soldering iron by the hot part?
Oh no.
Yeah, and it's an actual. I think they were using it for schooling, so you could go back to school and learn a trade. And
I did do some soldering with a soldering iron in my bathroom this week. That was awkward.
Oh, I don't want to know. What's with the porn, man? Come on, go away.
Can you block? Isn't that a thing?
Yeah. I'm reporting them, but I don't know if I should. Okay, thank you. I don't know if I should just block them or what.
Probably. I don't think they're going to bring much value.
When you report them, they block. That's the thing, right? So it's not like it's. Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Dan, you got to take on soldering project. You'll gain consistency. Bought a pie. I can't even read that. It's too small. And put it together. Now I can solder. I once burned
the thing that ramped my skills up was when I recapped my Mackie.
Nice. Yeah.
That's a week and a half project if you've never done it before, and that will get your hands much more stable.
Well, it also makes you realize how much more stuff you need for holding things.
I would argue because soldering wires versus soldering and unsoldering components from a PCB, very different. PCB soldering, you have to be very precise and quick because the risk of burning the board is so high.
Yeah. I once burned my fingers when I was about 16 when soldering. I picked it up on the wrong side too. TechMed. Oh, God.
That's why I like that the soldering stations have a holder. So it's pretty much impossible to hold it from the wrong end.
God. Well, also, the holders, the burny part is tucked away.
Yes, which is nice.
Yeah, I think
Very
everybody's feeling awkward and kind of like.
Well, I'm like rubbing my hand against my desk.
Yeah.
It's like it's almost like, you know, that reaction when somebody, like, you hear nails on a chalkboard and your fingernails start like pulsing.
Well, it's kind of like
that's-
this same reaction you get when somebody mentions Lorena Bobbitt. You're like, oh no, God. Oh. Anyways.
Anywho.
So I'll try to get a UA interface for the SD-1. I think that's where all of this started. And if not, the review's just going to be the SD-1, whether or not you need a UA interface with it.
I think that's an important part of the review. Plug it in just au naturel and see.
Well, but because I have a feeling the way they're marketing this bloody thing is that a lot of people are going to do that. A lot of people are just going to buy this microphone and aren't going for the $1,000 interface.
Well, yeah, obviously that's the problem. It's priced so differently than the $1,000 interface. Like,
worst mic suggestion I had was to get a PGA 48. Glad I spent a little bit more. Who suggested you buy the PGA 48?
what the fuck is that?
That's a Shure.
Oh. Yeah.
What was with the PGA lineup? What are those supposed to be?
I think they're supposed to be for sound reinforcement, like live sound.
Okay.
So they're supposed to be like, okay, budget, you can beat them up.
So because SM is studio microphone.
Studio
What does
mic,
PGA stand for?
Pro Golf.
Association.
Alliance.
Yeah.
Association.
Okay. They advertise it with volts too. Oh, interesting. Oh yeah, the UA volt. So if I get a UA volt interface, it'll work. Okay, you know what? That's what I'm gonna do. Screw it. I'm gonna buy the UA volt, 276, whatever it is. That's what I'm gonna do, and I'll test it out with that. Let's go a little bit broke on UA stuff this summer.
Just a little broke.
All right. All that said, old trick from the steel mill: run your fingers through your hair after a burn replaces the oil on your skin. Advice from an old man.
Oh,
I never thought of that. That is good. The only time I've ever burnt my hands severely enough, like I could imagine it's like grabbing a soldering iron. I had a cast iron pan that I had.
I don't like where this is going.
I had cooked some food in it, but I had to throw it in the oven. And then I pulled it out of the oven and I put it on the countertop. And then I went to go scoop some food out of it. And I just grabbed the pan like I normally would and lifted. And it takes about, I would say about
there's
2 to 3 seconds before you realize what you did.
It registers.
And I heard the crisping of my hand. Like I heard
You're like the cooking, like the evaporating water from your skin.
I heard that and I'm like, what the hell? And I'm like, ah! I had to take 3 Tylenol 3s. I wasn't willing to go to the hospital. The pain would not go away. You know how when you run it under cold water, the pain feels better? This was intense pain for about 4 hours.
Burn, really. I don't know what it is. Some medical person could probably explain to me why burning is such a lingering pain in the ass.
Banjo says the Volt doesn't give you DSP processing. I've just assumed Volt had DSP. I still haven't sat down with the bloody thing.
I think the obviously the UA native whatever blah 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 thing has it, but the Apollos all do.
Yeah, I don't want to go buy a bloody Apollo.
Now, here's a question. So Banjo, have you looked this up? Does so if I have a UAD quad in my machine, would that be able to run it? Because I mean it's not in an interface, but
does it have DSP? Because as long as it can take the DSP plugins.
Yes, it's a DSP card.
Well,
it's its only job. It's DSP.
If it can support the plugins, yeah. That's all. That's the only thing. You just require
so that's great. So then I could get that mic and run it like tomorrow.
Maybe I'll just send you the mic. You can have it.
Yeah, sweet. I do it. Yeah, fuck.
Well,
I'm not gonna keep it, but
well, it depends. If it's really nice, no, I'll just send it to you.
If it's really nice, I'll buy it off you.
Any Revelator updates? No, I sent the Revelator back. That's one of the drawbacks to doing borrowing stuff for videos. Actually, it's kind of a bonus and a drawback is the fact that I don't have clutter in my studio, but also like with the Rodecaster Pro, everyone's like, dude, get a Rodecaster Pro so you can do the update videos. And I was considering it, but I'm like, that's a lot of money just for update videos. So no, I don't have any, and I won't be doing any Revelator updates unless they decide to send me one again. I is a microphone. It will work with all plugins. Ha 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 ha.
Troll.
Lots of good DSP in the Revelator. Yeah, no, the Revelator actually only works with PreSonus plugins, though.
Of course it does.
Yeah. If I recall, maybe it does work with the ST3. You know what? I should have actually looked at that while I was doing the review. Bad reviewer. You should plug the UA into something like Yamaha Live Mixer board. Plenty of us use the USB out to our condenser mics for recording. Huh. You have the UAD quad. You'll be able to run the plugins in your DAW most likely.
So
there you go.
A, B, C, D, E.
Oh, you know what? I got an interesting message from. I'm not actually allowed to share the legit. Well, I can't share the release.
About it?
But Tascam contacted me and said, "Oh, there's an update for the Mixcast 4," and that's the one I do actually own. Mm-hmm. They're like, yeah. So look for.
If I'm mistaken, you were rather impressed with that.
Yeah. No, Mixcast 4 is awesome. I think it's a better buy than the Rodecaster Pro. That's just my personal thought. But
speaking of products that we get hate on for shitting on,
they emailed me saying, "Hey, there's an update. Looking forward to what you're going to do with this." And I'm like, and I looked over some of the update notes, and I'm like, "Oh, that's okay." But am I gonna have? I'm not releasing a video every time y'all got an update. You know that, right? And I actually messaged him back saying, "I'm not doing a video on an update." Like the amount of people that own Mixcast 4s, what am I targeting? An audience of like 1,000 people? Like, I'm not doing an update video. Like,
you should just do an all Mixcast YouTube channel.
If they do an update on that is substantial enough, like with 2.1, I think it was with the Rodecaster Pro, they released that update. It included, was it 2.1 where they actually had their own drivers? Now that's a reason to do an update on a video. But if you're just fixing or adding a couple new buttons, I'm not going to break out the camera for a freaking video for that. Okay, I do use the Revelator daily. So far, so good with 2 firmware updates. Nice.
I gotta say, some things are industry standards, and I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, Dimebag says doesn't think it works with the ST3. That's sad, but understandable completely. Sure, PG is performance gear.
That is the biggest load of bullshit.
Yeah. That's their job to make a video disclosing and informing their users of the updates, what it does and how it functions. Well, and that's the thing, like there's a valid reason to do update videos. I've watched a couple from a few different creators on the Rodecaster Pro updates, because Rodecaster, when they roll out an update, it's a good update. Like, it's an update that you're like, man, those are features we could really use.
Yeah.
If you're just adding a couple buttons to the UI, I'm good. Like, I don't need to, and I don't care. So, I mean, really, it's not that big of a deal. We'll see how they respond to that. See if Tascam calls and decides to try to throw their weight. Hey, some of your fans would love that Tascam update. Urshad, Sedek. Okay.
What?
Urshad just said some of your fans would love that Tascam update.
Oh, sure. Show of hands.
No. That's not a fair assessment. There's what do we have? 20 people in here?
Do a poll. Do a poll. Do you give a shit about Tascam updates?
No,
yes
no. I'm not going to be mean to Urshad.
No, I mean, like, Tascam does make some good stuff, but I think...
so I think the biggest thing for me, and this is what I told Tascam, was the amount of time and energy that you have to put into a video, fact-checking, writing a script, getting B-roll, shooting the video, and then editing the video, thumbnail, upload. Is it really worth a small update? By the way, Urshad, nothing really major. Like, there's, I think, a couple extra, like, quality of life things that most people won't even notice. And yeah, that Rode did that extremely well. They did a lot of great updates to the Rodecaster Pro. Like, every time they rolled out a bloody update, I mean, they add MIDI control to it. Like, it was like, that's some cool stuff. At Dylan, do you have UA Analog Real-Time Classics bundle plugins or equivalent?
I'd have to buy it. I still have like a UA like redeem card that I've probably got enough coin on it.
20 years old.
No, it's only like I haven't had the UAD that long. It's only been like 3 or 4 years.
See, I just bought the Mini Fuse 2. Now I'm gonna go out and get another one. I'm gonna
Well,
end up
you
having
don't have to get an interface. Just get a UAD solo, like a DSP card,
Yeah.
and just throw it in your machine. Then you can run it with your interface. Like it doesn't interfere with the interface situation. Plus the solos aren't that expensive. I think a UAD solo card is $200.
Apollo Solo.
No, not Apollo. Don't look up Apollo.
Yeah,
Just
no, that's what it's
UAD.
giving me. That's what it's giving me. UAD.
Well, it might be solo or mono or uni or it's the UAD2 card with one processor on it. That's the one you're looking for. One Shark processor.
Universal Audio Apollo Dual Thunderbolt 3 card.
No. No.
Quad UAD2. Here it is.
There you go.
That's $1,000.
That's quad though. That's 4 processors. You
Yeah.
just need one. You just need one.
So
They have 4 versions of the card. They have one, dual, quad, and oct. I think they might have 16 now. I doubt it though.
solo card.
I have the quad. Yeah, solo.
It's not even PCIe DSP accelerator cards.
Yep.
It's through
That's it.
U Audio.
That's it.
Okay. I'll look into buying that.
Yeah, because it's not expensive. You don't have to spend the money on the interface as long as it, is a card that has the minimum DSP, which is one processor.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Wide orbit. Fuck you.
Well, the only bonus of getting the interface is having the
you'd be able to
interface
do
for
a
comparisons. Well, it
any
depends.
review on an interface.
I'm not buying their brand new one, so am I going to do a review on an old interface?
Well, I mean, the Apollos are still relevant. I mean, people
They're
are still
relevant,
looking
yeah.
at them.
And what did they release a new one last year?
I think
Last
so.
year?
Yeah, the gray face ones. Yeah.
Yeah,
They,
I would have to go get a Thunderbolt card for my computer, which I'm not against.
See, that's one of the things. One of the reasons I got my new motherboard was because it's got 2 native Thunderbolts on.
Well, I've got extra slots open. Like it's not like I'm gonna be like, oh no,
and
I can't.
Thunderbolt cards aren't crazy expensive either.
No, it's just more of a pain in the ass. I should probably clean out my computer at some point. What about the Deity V4? Seems awesome. That's actually, I haven't touched much Deity product because I reached out to them at one point and I actually got an incredibly rude response from somebody. And I
think some might say Deity has a god complex.
I forget who it was, but I got an incredibly rude response from Deity. And it was right around the time that Booth Junkie did a video. I forget what the Deity mic he was doing. S2? I can't remember. Anyways, I just reached out to them saying, hey guys, would love to. And the response they got was one of the most insulting things anybody's ever emailed me.
What was
And
it?
I just, I'm not going to share that. I'm not going to drag a company through the shit for that. Because whatever, it's just, but since then, I haven't even looked at a Deity product. But
no, that's it. It just takes one experience like that to completely fuck up a relationship.
But then at the same time, I also have to maintain those relationships because it's my business now, right? So,
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't have to maintain a relationship with them, but shitting on them publicly is
Yeah.
probably not a great idea.
no, and that's the thing. Like, I'm not going to drag out what they said to me. That's not the point of it. It was the S-Mic 2 that I think it was the DDS Mic 2. That's Deity, right?
The Schmike too.
Yeah. Anyways, I'll look into the V4. There's a whole line of stuff that I would love to do. Like I would love to do pencil mics. Like just gotta go on a pencil mic run. Right now, I'm getting a lot of boom arms. So I had the Rode boom arm. Now I've got the Warm Audio one coming up, and I also have a video on a pair of headphones. So if you're a DJ and you are interested in Korg headphones, Monday's video is going to be for you. I tried to make it relatively entertaining.
It costs more than the Apollo Solo, but the advantage of the DSP card is you're not relegated to using the Apollo Solo as an interface. You can kind of use it with whatever interface that you want. So yeah, the card might be a little more expensive, but I would argue you're a little more flexible with the card than you are.
That's fair.
Stuck using the interface. Plus,
I'm
again,
not a big fan of the interface setup with Apollos.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, right? Again, once you get in the interface, you're like locked into their ecosystem of interfaces,
Yeah.
and it's like.
I hope Tascam will also make some substantial updates because I really like the Mixcast 4. Yeah, there's a lot of little things. I think part of it also is I'm rebelling against the idea of having to use the SD card to update it. I think that kind of pisses me off a bit. Like, you load it onto the SD card, then you take the SD card, put it in.
I have a Line 6 amp that's like that, and it drives me bananas.
It's stupid. DM me what they said. Nah, Banjo, I don't know if that's a smart thing to do. I really shouldn't. Anyways, 6:30, guys. I'm going to have to get out of here. Thank you very much for joining us. This was a great stream. This wasn't as contentious and as angry as last week, which I really love.
No, still some diverse opinions, which
I like
is
it. I like it.
Yeah.
No, but last week wasn't angry. I wasn't angry. I just found it fascinating, and that's
Well, I think last week was we had a controversial opinion, obviously, on the subscribe button, and we spent the entire stream trying to find a way to explain our point in a way that justified it.
Yeah. Thank you for the super chat, TechMed. I appreciate that, brother. I will make sure I go and drink that amount of beer directly after the stream. It's €5 of beer. It can't be that much, right? I mean, I guess
What's that, like $10?
That's about $10. Yeah, I think I could do that.
That's several beers, yeah.
The honking will continue until freedom improves. I'm literally 5 minutes away, and police are doing takedowns of everything right now, which, by the way, thank you. Yeah. Anyone that doesn't live in Ottawa has no concept of how...
It's a clusterfuck.
Fucking obnoxious it has been, and how...
Did you catch the train wreck of a city hall meet on TV the other night?
Yeah, before all this... So... I've never seen so many trucks with spelling mistakes on them.
It's true. Especially, it's always it's like the cameramen are looking for those trucks.
Yeah, but one had freedom 2202, and it's like, so we want freedom, and we want it in 150 years, 180 years. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Anyways, enough about Freedom Convoy. Have yourselves a great weekend, guys, and we'll see you next week. Later.
Ciao, ciao.